Hello everyone. So today I decided to do a quick garden tour update because the last time I showed you the sidewalk garden, it was about a month ago, and it's changed a lot. And it's looking so beautiful right now. So first of all, the Euphorbia marginata, or snow on the mountain, is blooming like crazy right now. It's actually starting to set seeds a little bit. Look at all the bees on it. That's so amazing. Look at all the different critters here. Be careful planting this plant. It reseeds, as you could tell, aggressively. It's easy to pull out though, and I do control it every spring. The seedlings are easy to identify, so I just thin them out. The Gastiki is also an incredible pollinator magnet. There is the phlox behind it. So I actually deadheaded all the phlox in the middle of July, right after I showed you the garden last time. So you could see right here, the French Schubert, I deadheaded and it's blooming again. Just an incredible plant. And black and blue salvia is finally blooming. Everybody's complaining this year that their salvias are incredibly slow, and so is mine. I don't know if it's the drought or something with the weather, but I finally have them in and waiting for the hummingbirds. Now, I do have to tell you, quick sad story. This week, a couple of days ago, we had a person stop by and vandalize the garden, or how should I say it? She was stealing the flowers. She actually came prepared with a box, and she went through the garden, cutting the flowers and putting it in her box. Michael and I actually were quite shocked. We were looking out of the window, and we just thought she was enjoying the garden like many people do. And then we suddenly realized that she was actually taking the flowers. So she caught a lot of the salvias. So I had another, like a big plant right here. She caught that one. I was incredibly upset. Michael ran out and started, warning her, but she ran away before he could even talk to her. It was very disappointing. It doesn't happen a lot. It happens occasionally, but it was really sad, nonetheless. Okay, so back to the garden. Joe Pye weed, full bloom, pollinator, attractant. I mean, bees are all over it. So this is baby Joe. It's about 4 feet tall versus the regular Joe Pye weed, which is right there. It's about 6 to 7 feet tall. Sorry about the plane. Right here, this is kind of a new combo this year with the little blue stem and Calaminta nepeta in the background. Sameringium, Yuccafolium, which is not blooming anymore, but the seed pods are just so incredibly architectural. I leave them on. Right here, the echinaceas are done blooming, but I'm leaving the seed pods on because I see a lot of finches on the flowers. Well, not on the flowers anymore, but like the seeds they adore. Verbena hastata, I already started deadheading because it does reseed in the garden a little bit more than I expected. But I actually love the seed pods. Look how cool they are. But I had a whole stance right here, and I removed them. It was just a little too much. The totem pole switchgrass, which I mean to replant, and I just don't have the time. It's too tall for the health strip, way too tall. It's a beautiful grass, but just giant. So I'm actually going to walk on the sidewalk now. Just gonna try to crawl through here, show you a little bit of the phlox right here. So this is the regular native phlox, paniculata, and that right there is Phlox gino. Let me show you a little bit closer. And it has smaller flowers, but pollinators just love this plant so much. And I love how delicate it is. And by the way, I recently, sorry about the truck, I recently installed this bee home right there, and it is the coolest thing ever. I will put a link in the description down below. We have bee babies in there. So I am so excited. If you guys want to learn a little bit more about it, maybe I'll make a separate video on that. So that bee home is just for native bees. They're solitary bees, so they don't build hives or anything. Have to fix this leaning tower of clematis that collapsed. Gotta do that so you can see how big this Joe Pye weed is. Gorgeous, gorgeous plant. So yeah, we lost some plants, but you know, could be worse. We were really upset and more disappointed in just that it could happen. Senorita Rosalita, Cleome is still doing its thing, and now the Panacetum has come in with its beautiful fine texture. I am planning on removing this grass from this garden because it's starting to reseed aggressively, and I'm going to replace it with something else. The elephant ears are looking beautiful, and so are the echinacea and phlox. And just overall, I would say the garden is in its peak right now, as it usually is in August. And it will keep on blooming for a couple more months, like until November. All of these things will be out. The Euphorbia marginata will start to recede, and the interesting thing about this plant is when the seeds are ready, they start to pop and crack. So when you walk through the garden, you hear this crackling and popping noise. Another plane. All right, and now let me show you the back patio real quick, because some of you wanted to see it. Many of you, after last week's video where I was sitting right there talking about my trip to Minnesota, you said that you had a hard time concentrating because of all of the beautiful plants in this patio, and I completely agree. So the interesting thing about this patio, and by the way, it just rained, so the couch is still pretty wet. Almost all of these plants I already had. I either overwintered them or I had them as house plants, and I just put them all together, and look at this lush space. So let me go over the individual plants with you. I'll start with this Kalanchoe or Kalanchoe beharensis. This is such a fun plant. Just touching it, and like this velvety texture and the velvety feel of the leaves, oh, makes me so happy. And just look at how pretty this is. So these I actually took cuttings off because this plant gets pretty tall. It gets to like 3 to 4 feet tall, and it starts to collapse. So I take plants of it regularly. And these are some of the house plants from the plant room. They love to be outside for the summer. So this is the philodendron and the schefflera or umbrella plant. That elephant ear right there, I'm actually kind of babysitting for my friend. And there's another philodendron, a hanging philodendron right here, which looks so beautiful. And elephant ears, I overwinter, as you guys know, as corms, and then I start them in the spring and populate this area and also the sidewalk garden. So I've been overwintering them, gosh, for almost 10 years. So this is a great way to create a budget-friendly garden. Just keep propagating your own plants, overwintering them. It's really not that difficult. Now, Tradescansias, right under the elephant ears, I take cuttings off every fall and I grow them as houseplants on the windowsill. They're super easy to grow. And look at that tapestry. Isn't that so pretty? And by the way, those 2 pots, those are the ones that are making compost in. In one of the short videos that I posted a couple of weeks ago, these are my compost pots. And you can see the plants are really happy while the compost is cooking. Now this elephant ear right here, this is Patio. Just beautiful. Look at those speckles. Look at that. There's a new leaf right here. Look at this beauty. I got this from a Digging Dog nursery. So I grow this plant as a house plant. It's not super happy. You can actually have it dormant in the winter, but I just love looking at those leaves. Underneath there's some begonias that I have as houseplants in the winter. And these hydrangeas right here, these are limelights. I've had in these pots for almost 4 years, and it's time to plant them in the ground. I just don't have the time, but they're still kind of hanging in there. The one in the back pot right there, I had to replant. It was so stressed out, so scraggly. It just couldn't do it anymore. So I planted it out in the landscape about a month ago, and it's doing great. So instead of that, I just planted a spare elephant ear that I had. Look, it looks so happy. And there's a mandevilla. You can't hardly see it. It's kind of climbing up the forsythia hedge. Right here in this corner, I have the Aloha elephant ear that I also overwintered as corms. And you could tell right there, I'm making another compost in this pot. You see how much it's settled? So that is the one downside of making compost in pots, is that it settles a lot. So when you do put the weeds and the mulch and the organic matter in the pot, make sure you really settle it really well. Like this one, I did a good job compacting the compost material, so it's not as settled. But this one, see how much that is down. This is a Streptocarpula, a really good friend of mine sent me from Ohio. Usually Streptocarpula comes in blue color, but this one is unusual and white. It's kind of like a little bit of violet, but I just love this plant. Also overwinters really well as a house plant. And of course, this is a begonia, which is a house plant. And this alocasia, this is Polly. Michael gave me in the winter as a gift. Again, a beautiful house plant. This is Flapjack echeveria. Look how cool this one is. Doesn't get enough sun here. It usually has a little bit of a reddish tint to it. Look at all the textures. There's not a lot of color going on here, but the textures are just stunning to me. Now let's look at this pot here. These are only 2 plants that I bought. This is Euphorbia Breathless Blush, and everything else again is overwintered. This is Eucomis or Pineapple Lily, which if you don't grow pineapple lily, you should. They're so fun. They come in different sizes and different colors. Very easy to overwinter as bulbs. And another Poly alocasia right here, and another overwintered elephant ear. So this is our patio area. Again, very budget friendly. Everything is upcycled from overwintering, taking cuttings, propagating. And it is so fun because I just love that part of gardening. Making more plants and making these beautiful compositions. Alright you guys, this is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this quick update of the sidewalk garden and also the patio garden. And I will see you in the next video.